So I just received the terrible news of Throne and Liberty being published by Amazon, and this title scared me, and I looked it up and it happens to be true. And I know I'm kind of late to the party, but I was not aware, and somehow this turned into a Lost Ark discussion, so we would actually react to it. I need to actually make a series of reaction. I don't know what to call it. Okay, for now, you just call it Lost React.
I know what most of you guys are gonna say. You guys are gonna be like, "Well, Lost Ark is super pay to win." Now, here's the thing: you can absolutely purchase power in Lost Ark. Nobody's debating that. And if that is your definition of pay to win, it's pay to win.
The thing is, I know most people would be afraid of the monetization because it's being handled by Amazon, but that's not actually what's scaring me. I don't think Amazon would ruin the monetization of Tron and Liberty. What scares me is how they would handle the game. The part that Amazon still up till this day does not understand how to manage is communication. Their communications with Lost Ark was terrible.
Reason why from day one I, along with all the other Lost Ark creators, were saying that it's not a big deal is because Lost Ark is a PvE focused game. People
That's
swiping
true.
in Lost Ark, it doesn't affect your experience negatively in any way. So that's why
I will actually disagree with this. I think that it does.
I would like to disagree with both of them. This would sound funny, but they have to specify, let's be honest. We know like Lost Ark is pay to win and you can definitely buy like progress with money. However, the game design is around making you spend thousands of dollars. And that's like the normal design of the game. So it's not like whaling in the game is not for everyone. It's for a very small percent of player base. So even if you have whales, they are not going to affect your experience as a casual player. However, if you're talking about the RMT problem of our like Western version, then whaling in it definitely impact the game because anyone can pay to win. Like even people that are working like 9 to 5 come back home 100k gold equal like $10. Give me that. Like it's so affordable. Like even the most casual player can pay to win in our version, in the Western version. However, in like the Korean version, you actually need to spend serious amount of money, so you would be in the top percentile of very low player base that would not impact the majority. But in our version, bro, it's such a mess. It's so hard to fix at the moment.
Because if everybody else is spending money, then they're going to be more likely to get invited to groups than you are because they're going to have better gear. That's how it works. Like, and this is something that, like,
I mean, this is true, but if there is like one whale in every 10,000 lobbies, you're not going to be rejected every single time. The problem is because of RMT, everyone has like great roster. So what does that mean is that you would be gate kept more. So the majority of player base is gatekeeping. It reached a point where I can say with confidence 50% of player base is doing RMT, which is crazy. You don't want that in a game.
with like an MMO, is that inside of an MMO, there's an ecosystem. And whenever you change one element in that ecosystem, you change the entire game. And you have effects that like kind of have a ripple effect beyond just what's happening individually. So like you have somebody that's able to pay to win, yeah, that's one thing, but that also means that people that are farming mats, their mats are going to be devalued because there's more gold sellers. And then you also have people that are trying to find groups.
I think here he wanted to say like the prices would be inflated, not devaluated. If like the mats are devaluated, that means there is a lot of supply but way less demand. It's the opposite. Like whales put a lot of demand on the market because they have a lot of gold. They are willing to like buy a load of mats. That means the value increases. It doesn't like decrease. So I think he's talking about the prices that they get inflated so hard.
And their attempts to try to find groups are going to be minimized because they don't have as many people to play with because everybody else wants to invite whales, or at least soft whales, where it's like somebody spends like $100 a month or $50 a month or something like that, which is like comparatively not a lot to like actual big whales, but it will get you a sizable difference in player power. And also like you end up not getting invited to groups because of this. How many of you all have had that happen? That's only affected the highest level? No, actually, it's worse at the lower levels.
Actually, he's right here. Even though, like, as I said, it depends on what kind of whaling you're talking about. If you're talking about normal whaling, then it would not impact you because you being like rejected from a lobby because they wanted to accept a whale that is like one per thousand or 10,000 or 100,000 lobbies because they are really few, that is not a problem. The problem is when everyone is RMTing and you're getting like rejected 50% of the time. That's the problem. And he's right because it's actually worse in like the lower levels because you are not going to spend gold on your ults. Like you're more likely to care more about your main and you would want ults that just can clear the raid. You don't want like overjuiced ults. However, someone who RMT is going to have insane ults, therefore like the gatekeeping automatically increases because when they go on their ults, they would look for people who are like them, so you would get hella gatekept in your ults. But on your main, since you're willing to spend on your main, you're not gonna have that problem even at the highest level because that's your main. You juiced it.
Because at the lower levels, people don't have. So, like, at very high levels, somebody will look at like they'll look at gear score, they'll look at engravings, they'll look at like your title, or like if you have the Belshazzar horns, for example, if you're trying to do like a Belshazzar clear, or they're going to try to look at your cards and your gems, right? Like those are the big like five things that matter. But the difference is that whenever you're making a group for, let's say, the Clown Raid or Belshazzar Normal or something like that, or not, well, I mean, I guess we are in Belshazzar Normal,
Yeah.
but, an easier raid in general, well, you're not going to be looking for as many of those things. Like, the first thing that people are going to see is item level. They're going to see somebody high item level, good player. That's what happens in WoW. That's what happens in Lost Ark. That's just the way it goes. So, yeah, I mean,
He's kind of right because in the lower level, people care about eye level more than anything, especially like Volton and even Argus. I actually saw lobbies in Argus asking 4 plus 1500. That's insane. Imagine requiring 1500 for Argus. But like these people who do that have multiple ults at the same eye level. So they want to play with people around that. And that's the problem because it's so easy now to reach that point. And for new players, it's super hard.
this is turning into like a Lost Ark thing, but like my point is that
And that's exactly why I'm reacting.
pay to win inside of a video game does have a ripple effect that affects people that are outside of that game.
True.
Or sorry, outside of that player because of how that player interacts with the environment.
Why people that are still playing Lost Ark to this day, they really don't care about the pay to win systems that are in Lost Ark. Throne and Liberty being a
I mean, we do care. It's just that we cope with it. We ignore it. But we do actually care. Trust me.
PvP focused game, having a pay to win system or allowing players to purchase power is very dangerous. The only game that allows you to purchase power that has actually done pretty decent
BDO,
to this
right?
day and is still alive with a decent player base is Black Desert
Yeah.
Online. That's the only game. And the only reason why Black Desert Online is still alive is because, well, their combat system is actually god tier.
I actually think Lost Ark combat system is better than BDO. And I played BDO, and like it was the game I played before Lost Ark, so that can tell you a thing.
Well, they have a great combat system. The gameplay is very good. Like Lost Ark is a game that is very good in a lot of ways, except for that.
Yes, is well aware
What? Like the combat system in Lost Ark is god tier.
when it comes to unfair, super over the top pay to win systems. There have been multiple systems already removed or altered in the Western version of Lost Ark.
This is true.
That is
He's right
currently
about this.
in the Eastern version of Lost Ark. If you're wondering,
Two examples are Yaz's Jar, which are like it's like a loot box thing that you can buy to get legendary armor that gives you increases in strength. And then there's also Yaz's Jar, and then pets. Pets are RNG. The stats that pets have in Korea is RNG.
well, to begin with, there is literally a pay to win currency in Lost Ark. in Korea.
I didn't even know
Like
that.
you literally get this currency by swiping. That's not in the game in the West. You have the legendary skins where
Yeah.
people were
So this
complaining
one.
in the West. That was also removed.
This is what I didn't understand. Like, why complain? Do people realize that, for example, I would agree with the pet part, even though even that does not pose like a big problem because that's like a progress that you get it once and you're done with it. So I have no problem with that. People should be fine with that kind of features. Like, if you need to re-roll and you end up on like the stat you want and you're done with it forever, that's not a problem. And for example, for the skins, are you aware that you could literally sell the skins in the auction house and you can buy them? And once you buy it once, that's it. There is no like new skins give like better power or you need to like upgrade them or hone them or no, you just buy them and you're done. And that will just like give you an extra gold income in case you end up getting a legendary skin so you can sell it for profit. It's just like a reduced source of income more than a source of pay to win actually. And where is the problem if like whales want to gamble with it? Obviously, like you are not going to go for it in week one, but with time you will get it and you'll be done with it and you will just like move on. It's not like honing, for example, where every time you need to hone, and even when you reach the locked item level, like the game developers will release new gear that will allow you to like hone over it, and it's a never-ending pattern.
From our version because
Yeah.
it was deemed too pay to win. And even that, to be perfectly honest, I didn't think it was like that bad. This game being
Yeah,
developed
it's
by
not bad.
NCSoft, I am 99.99. Fuck it. I'm 100% sure that you will be able to pay to win in the Korean version of this game. Now,
Not just the
will
Korean
AGS be
version.
able to soften or even remove that monetization that Korea is bound to have? My guess is probably not to the full extent, but definitely softened. Now, even a
Well, they're going to have to because the reason why games are pay to win, like you have to look at this as kind of a four.
Like, I don't get this part. Why are people freaking about pay to win over this game? Obviously, it's going to be pay to win. Don't they know who NCSoft is? What scares me is the publisher, Amazon. We don't know what they have in their brain. They literally like gave us a class per 3 months. Like, imagine the game was released for a whole year now, and we still don't have all the classes. We got Summoner just like 2 months ago or a month ago, and Summoner was released with the game initially. So I'm kinda scared for Throne and Liberty.
Forehead kind of way. Why are games pay to win?
Good
Because
question.
pay to win mechanics make money. That's why. People pay a lot of money for pay to win mechanics. So they're not going to probably get rid of all of the pay to win because then they're going to make a lot less money.
softened version of the
what's gonna
pay-to-win system
happen.
in Korea. I love how I'm just assuming that the pay-to-win system in Korea is just going to be ridiculous.
Yeah,
But
we've
even
played
a
a few
softened
games
version
before,
of it
too.
is still potentially a game breaker for our region. It'll definitely be interesting to see what Amazon Game Studios
This is the problem that people don't realize is that the Western like player base, we don't need a softened version. We need an adaptive version. That's what we need. Like people now keep saying, oh, the Korean version is way worse and ours is softened. No, it's not. Our version is the most pay to win version. And if I do it this way, let me actually prove it in 1 minute. So this is the Korean shop. And this is like, let's consider this the Western shop. Even though there is like European one, there's like multiple regions. Let's take in A East, since I think it's the most populated region in the West. Let's take it as the best example. Master Summoner costs 13k or almost 14k. It's like, it's because it's recently released new class. Let's see something like it in Korea, since they just recently got Slayer as well. So their newest like class, the engraving for it costs 9k, and they have more gold resources. So they are supposed to have more gold incomes. Therefore, the prices should be higher. But it's not like that. The prices are cheaper. Let me show. This is Igniter. Look at Igniter. It's 4k. In our version, Igniter is 11k. Grudge is 11k in the Korean version. In our version, Grudge is 13k. And you want to know the reason for this is because of RMT. The prices shouldn't be this high. And the reason behind it is simple. Let's say you're just like the most casual player and you have very low income and you only play on one character. So when you are buying like a book or for any class or just general engraving book, let's say you will do 2 books per week. And let's say you have average income. Then you can afford maybe around 5 books per week. Let's say you're above average. You would be able to afford 10 books per week. But let's say you're a sweaty tryhard. You would afford all the books in one week. But guess what? There is a separate category which is an RM tier that can afford 20 books per day. And the reason an RM tier can afford is because he can just buy gold for so cheap. Because gold value means nothing. And what will that leads to? Increasing prices. And that's why we have ridiculous prices. Everyone has gold. 50% of the player base is RMT. Therefore, anyone can afford these books for like, and they don't even need to farm them. They can just one day buy all the books. And obviously, what will that lead into? Crazy prices.
Does with the Western version of this game.
I don't think that it will be a game breaker as long as the game is good. I actually don't think that Western audiences will not play a good game because it's pay to win. And I think Black Desert is an example.
That's true. Like, every MMO nowadays is pay to win. The problem is how pay to win. Because if it's pay to win for a very small percentage of players, it would be a playable game. You would be able to tolerate it. But if it's pay to win for anything above like 10%, then just just drop it.
Of that. Obviously, it's not massively popular here in the West, but again, it's not a perfect game, and there's a number of other reasons for that too. You look at something like Genshin Impact, look at World of Warcraft, look at Lost Ark. There are a lot of games nowadays that are pay to win, and people don't really care about it as much. It's not, it's not 2010 anymore. So I don't think that that is going to be the defining feature whether the game is popular or not. Like, as I said, Lost Ark is not losing players because it's pay to win.
What? Nah, Asmo, I'm sorry, but Lost Ark is losing players because it is pay to win. If it wasn't pay to win, you wouldn't be losing players because if you can buy anything in the game, if you could literally buy anything. You could buy like gems, you could buy cards progress, you could buy like rapport items, you could buy literally anything. And what that results in, like new players quitting the game once they get into it because prices are so inflated and they can't afford to do it. No one would want to pay in a game they just got into. If you're a new player, you don't want to be spending on a game you just started playing. So obviously, after you realize that you need to pay, you just quit. So yeah, it will still be playable, but the game will die with time. And Lost Ark, if they don't fix the problems we have at the moment, it would for sure die with time.
It's losing players because people log in and they have to do the same activities a million times and it's boring.
I actually would disagree with this because it's not because they log in to do the same stuff that they quit the game. It's because it's not rewarding.
That's the problem with the game. It has nothing to do with it being pay to win.
Now, outside of the monetization, the only
That's
other
like
concern
number
that I do have is
nine
with
in
the
the problem
combat.
list.
Still, it is supposed to be like a It is supposed to be action combat. I know for a fact it was originally tab target, and then they kind of mixed it, but
Yeah.
we're just gonna have to wait for the beta test to see the updated version of the game. But
I'm actually okay with tab target for like soft locking auto attacks for like
Okay, seems like they are done talking about Lost Ark and they went on to talk about Turn and Liberty. So that's it. I would end it here and see ya.